My name is Kate Arthur, and my Genius Hour topic was Genius Hour. So I've been choosing to do Genius Hour with 8th graders for the past 5 years, and I continue to choose it every year because I believe in what it stands for. So much of what we are required to teach asks students to passively receive information, and Genius Hour is more in line with why I became a teacher, which is a desire to inspire people to become lifelong learners. I am always striving to learn more about student-centered approaches to learning. And when I was introduced to the constructivist theory, I realized that when students are more active in the creation of meaning and knowledge, they are much more likely to take ownership over their own learning. Genius Hour allows students to do just that. Every year they are allowed to choose any topic they would like to learn more about or learn about for the first time. Sometimes they choose to learn how to do something new. And then we work on finding ways on sharing that learning with other people. Every year I'm amazed with what my students come up with, what they do, what they learn. And every year I strive to find new ways to keep it interesting for them and for me. To embrace the inquiry mindset, I had every student create a driving question. It needed to be a question that could not be answered by a quick Google search or even in our time with Genius Hour. They were meant to be questions that were hard to answer but fun to explore. For 2019, I had 2 driving questions. The first one was, how can I support students as independent learners? Over the years, I've found that when students are given complete freedom to learn about whatever they want, some of them get pretty overwhelmed. They're used to having a checklist, a rubric, a list of step-by-step instructions of what they're supposed to do first, second, and third, and what they're supposed to use to do it. So finding different ways to support all of these different projects is difficult. I ask students to house all of their information in a Google site, which is pretty user-friendly. I give them some required elements. Everybody has to have a home or about me page. They need to have a progress page to document what they're doing. And they have to have a resources or works cited page as well. But after that, they're allowed to add as many other pages as they want to showcase any elements of their project that they want to highlight. I collect all of their sites via a Google form so that I can both share the sites with them and check in on their progress pages to see how they're doing. And I really do focus on their progress page. That's a place where they can go and demonstrate what they have been learning or what they have been doing. And as you can see here, there are a lot of different types of projects and sites and ways of demonstrating what each individual student is learning. Students use the sites for a variety of ways to demonstrate their learning and to share their learning with other people. I also created a Google site. I do my best through the Genius Hour process to do the same things that I ask my students to create, as Genius Hour is my Genius Hour project. My second driving question was, how can students safely share their learning? So while supporting students in their independent learning projects is challenging because they're so different from each other, having them share safely is challenging due to privacy restrictions and safety restrictions that we have at the school. So all students have an FCSGA online account that is only accessible to other people with that account. So the Google sites are privacy protected that way. So only people within our domain can see the websites. Many students chose to create flyers with QR codes that would take students to their websites or Google Forms, depending on what it was they were trying to share. We didn't run into any problems with QR codes linking to Google Forms, but the QR codes that link to Google Sites ended up being one of the major challenges this year. As students scanned QR codes, it would take them to "this site can't be reached," and we didn't realize until just recently that this was due to students being logged into personal Google accounts. I was already using Flipgrid as a place for students to share their topic ideas, But then it dawned on me that we could use it as a place to share learning. So I made a second Flipgrid video a requirement where students would share what they were learning, and then they had to view and comment and interact with other people's projects. So that helped overcome a bit of a challenge with sharing projects. I encouraged students to post about their projects, maybe make them like a commercial, and then they also could link their website to their Flipgrids, and those links were a little more accessible than the QR codes. Despite our technical difficulties, students found ways to share their work. Some posted on YouTube or created their own websites using Wix or other platforms.
Welcome, guys. This is our podcast. We're the Guys Grooves. I'm Coven.
And I'm Tevin. And today we have a lot of interesting topics for you today.
And Google Sites did prove a good place for students to house videos and tutorials that they created. As for successes, I feel like we're moving in the right direction in creating driving questions that really do foster an inquiry-based mindset. This year's driving questions were much stronger than the ones I've seen in the past. They were open-ended and they inspired students to really think beyond a definite answer to a question. Would I do anything differently? Absolutely. This year we needed more time. I've started this project in August, I've started it in January, and I've done it in April more than once. It tends to do better in a condensed period when we can focus on it, but this year we were thrown curveballs of To Kill a Mockingbird and Romeo and Juliet, and trying to do both of them at the same time was just a little too much. I wish we could have started sooner. I'm definitely still passionate about this concept of constructivist learning, of choice and voice, of allowing students to learn and explore topics that are of interest to them. But I definitely need to find a new way to do it. And I don't know if I'll call it Genius Hour again next year. But finding a way to have students use an inquiry mindset to solve problems is something I am passionate about. Final thoughts, I'm just proud. I'm proud of the students who went above and beyond anything I could have asked them to do. I'm proud of the students who figured out how to do Control-C and Control-V on a Chromebook. I'm proud of the students who went outside of their comfort zones. And I'm proud of the ones who are struggling to get a cool video together here at the end. There's so much that we learn through Genius Hour that absolutely cannot be quantified by any kind of rubric or grade, and that's what makes it so worthwhile. So in whatever shape or form it shows up in my classroom next year, I look forward to it.